Dinner that Christmas froze in place on my mother's words. "You're dead to me," she said, her tone colder than the snow outside. Every clink of silverware, every breath, even my pulse, stopped. I looked around the table. No one met my eyes. The silence roared louder than any scream. That night, I made a decision. I stood up, walked out, and cut every tie that bound me to them. My name is Veda. I'm 29 now, from a place called Millfield, and I'm writing my own story instead of performing in theirs. I grew up chasing approval like air, approval that never came. That night, I chose something unheard of in our house, peace instead of permission. Years later, my table looks nothing like theirs. Seats are set only for people who show up with love in their hands. If this feels familiar, tell me where you're listening from. Follow if family stories give you oxygen. They tried to bury me at Christmas, but I rose without them. Millfield was a small town built on appearances, not truth. Reputation meant more than kindness. My mother, Catherine, ran our home like a PR campaign. Every outfit, every smile, every move, polished for display. Behind closed doors, it was suffocating. Nothing I did was enough. Stand taller, Veda. Fix your hair, Virginia. Why can't you be more like Amelia? My father, Thomas, stayed quiet. A sympathetic glance here, a pat on the shoulder later. Your mother just wants what's best. But what she wanted was perfection, and I was too human to qualify. Amelia, 3 years younger, was the golden one. Straight A's, flawless posture, endless piano recitals. Mom showcased her like a trophy. "See how beautifully Amelia sits," she'd say. Her eyes finished the sentence. "You'll never measure up." I tried anyway. I forced myself into ballet, though I hated every ply. Endured endless handwriting drills. Wore frilly dresses my classmates laughed at. Still, the soundtrack of home was her sigh of disappointment. By 15, rebellion flickered. I wanted to join the school newspaper. She pushed debate club instead. Journalism isn't a career, Veda. Lawyers make something of themselves. When I dyed a streak of hair purple, she gave me silence for 3 days, then dragged me to her stylist and made me pay to erase it. Dad said nothing. Amelia thrived. I became the problem. That's the curse of growing up where love comes with conditions. You never stop craving it, even once you realize you'll never earn it. That lesson, carved into me in Millfield, planted the seed of the choice I made on that Christmas night. College was oxygen. 3 hours away, but it felt like another world. At first, I came home on weekends, then monthly, then only on holidays. Distance gave me courage. I dropped pre-law for journalism without asking permission. When she found out, her voice cracked like glass through the dorm phone. "You're throwing away your potential. We're not paying for you to waste money." My roommate held me while I cried, but I stood my ground. Dad slipped me a quiet lifeline. "Just do well, kiddo. That's all that matters." Graduation came with both pride and dread. Against instinct, I moved back to Millfield. The Gazette hired me, and student loans demanded I say yes. Back in town, her grip returned like frost on glass. Daily texts about law firms. Sunday dinners turned into interrogations. Then came Lucas. I met him at the fall festival, behind a camera, capturing moments instead of staging them. He had kind eyes and a steady calm, the first person who ever saw me instead of the failure version she'd built. I brought him home once. Mom's gaze lingered on his tattoos like they were criminal evidence. "He's not stable, Veda. You need someone who can provide." As if I wasn't already providing for myself. Dad tried small talk. Amelia smiled politely. Mom made sure her disapproval filled every corner of the room. Lucas squeezed my hand under the table, a quiet rebellion, warm and defiant. I held on tighter, not out of desperation, but recognition. He saw me. Thanksgiving passed in strained silence. Christmas waited like a storm. One night, Mom called, her voice sugar-edged with steel. "So, will Lucas be joining us for Christmas?" "Yes," I said, steady. "He doesn't have family nearby. I want him there." A pause, sharp enough to cut. "Christmas is for family. If you insist on bringing your photographer friend, make sure he looks appropriate." "Photographer," said like felon. A warning dressed as permission. I hung up and sat in the dark. Lucas found me there. Do you want me to come? He asked softly. Tears burned. She's going to make it miserable. He didn't hesitate. I'm not letting you face her alone. We're a team. For the first time, I felt ready. Ready to stop bending. Ready to choose peace over performance. Christmas morning, snow dusted the roofs like powdered sugar hiding something bitter. I stood before the mirror, smoothing my sweater dress, pinning my hair neat. Lucas buttoned his shirt, refusing to take out his earring. Ready? He asked. I nodded, dread sharp in my chest. We carried gifts, a casserole, and a silent pact. This time, I would not sit quietly. The moments when the tension became too heavy always started the same way. Her painted smile greeting me at the door. Merry Christmas, darling. And Lucas, how nice of you to join us. Her eyes flicked across us like a scanner, cataloging every flaw before stepping aside. Inside, the tree glimmered with perfection, no messy handmade ornaments, just gold and burgundy, as if love could be curated like decor. My father rose, warmth in his expression. There's my girl, he said, pulling me into a hug before clasping Lucas's hand. You're welcome here, son. Amelia sat with Greg, her banker prince, their picture so tidy it almost stung. She gave me a small, guilty smile, a silent apology she didn't have words for. The gift exchange followed its usual script. My mother inspected her new handbag with a thin layer of gratitude, eyes darting to the brand name. Dad smiled at his book. Amelia wrapped her scarf around her shoulders, twirling it playfully. Lucas offered wine and chocolates. My mother accepted with a flat, thank you. Then her voice turned sharp. Veda, casseroles in the kitchen. I followed her, already bracing. She leaned closer as if to whisper, but her words cut instead. You've put on weight since Thanksgiving. Her fork scraped the gravy dish. Did you even follow my recipe? I stacked bread rolls, lying with ease. Of course, Mom. In truth, I changed it, cut the sugar. Back at the table, Lucas sat near the poinsettia centerpiece, half hidden. Dad tried to shift the air. Veda's been doing well at the Gazette. Some really great pieces. That's nice, my mother replied, cool as ice. Though law school might have been wiser. Lucas spoke before I could shrink further. Her editor says she's being considered for feature writer. The readers love her work. My mother's smile tightened like thread pulled too hard. How lovely. I imagine the pay isn't much. Her fork scraped again. The talk moved on. Amelia's promotion, Greg's successes. My appetite disappeared. Then Dad asked about plans for the new year. Lucas squeezed my hand before I could answer. We're considering Portland. Bigger opportunities for both of us. The table froze. Portland, my mother repeated, as though the word itself was betrayal. It's a chance, Mom, I explained. We're building something for ourselves. Her voice dripped venom. So you'll chase after him. Reckless, like always. We're partners, I said firmly. We make decisions together. She scoffed, pointing to Amelia and Greg. Look at them. Respectable. Why can't you make better choices? Because they aren't mine, I said. They're yours. Her jaw set like stone. If you go, don't expect anything from us. You'll be dead to me. The silence that followed was suffocating. Dad's eyes dropped to his plate. Amelia froze mid-breath. I placed my napkin gently on the table. Then there's nothing left to say. Lucas stood with me. Thank you for dinner, he said politely. At the door, I whispered, Merry Christmas, and stepped out of the house that had never really been home. That night, tears blurred the Christmas lights outside my window. I blocked their numbers, severing every tie. She may have killed me with her words at that table, but walking away finally gave me life. The quiet in my apartment afterward was deafening. No buzzing phone. No text demanding explanations. Just me, Lucas, and the ache of breaking away. Blocking numbers, cutting them off social media. It was freeing and orphaning at the same time. The days blurred. Some mornings I felt lighter, others crushed under grief. My body betrayed me. Jaw aching from clenched teeth, shoulders locked from years of tension, nights broken by dreams of my mother chasing me with scissors, trimming away pieces she never approved of. At 3 a.m., I would sit awake, scrolling old photos, wondering if I'd gone too far. Then I'd remember her words, you're dead to me. They cut deeper than silence ever could. Lucas held me through it. Are you sure about this? He asked softly. I'll support whatever you choose. I've been dying by inches my whole life, I whispered. It's time to breathe. Practical ties unraveled next. I left the family phone plan, bought my own insurance, changed the locks so her spare key was useless. Each cut was brutal, but each cut was freedom. Then Amelia's voicemail came, sharp and guilt-laden. Dad was heartbroken when you didn't call for his birthday. Mom isn't eating. I'm left cleaning up your tantrum. Call them and apologize. I deleted it. Blocked her too. At work, my editor noticed my distracted writing. Everything okay, Veda? Personal things, I admitted. He nodded gently. Good writers need to process their own story too. That compassion cracked something in me. I wasn't used to kindness. Lucas urged therapy. Dr. Madison specialized in family trauma. After one session, raw and trembling, I finally heard the truth spoken plainly. What you described is emotional control. Distance isn't selfish, it's survival. Naming the wound felt like a bandage. Then came the letter. For pages of my mother's handwriting, swinging between guilt, manipulation, and threats about inheritance. Not once did the word sorry appear. I filed it under family communications and never replied. New Year's Eve, Lucas raised his glass. To new beginnings. I smiled, fragile but real. Every cut hurt, but each one made room for peace. She thought abandoning me would destroy me. Instead, it gave me soil to grow. 6 months later, Portland was nothing like Millfield. The air itself felt lighter. My reflection in the mirror finally looked like mine. Lucas's photography thrived, and my writing sharpened with honesty I had once buried. For the first time, I wasn't editing myself for her approval. I built friendships not chosen for me, but chosen by me. People who loved me as I was, not as I performed. They taught me something revolutionary. Love without conditions exists. One evening, Lucas slipped a simple ring into my hand. Not flashy, but perfect. Yes, I said, tears falling, not from fear, but from knowing my future no longer carried chains from the past. Another letter arrived from my mother. Guilt spilled across pages, still no apology. I didn't answer. I no longer needed to. Healing meant letting go of answers I'd never get. No apology could erase childhood. No promise could undo Christmas night. But boundaries could. Boundaries turned grief into ground to stand on. Boundaries turned silence into peace. When I picture my wedding now, I walk the aisle alone. Not empty, whole. Not chasing scraps of love. Setting my own table. And only those who show up in love will have a seat. If you've ever chosen peace over permission, you know this freedom. It hurts, but it heals. They buried me with their words. But with boundaries, I came back alive. And maybe if you've been through something like this, you'll understand.